There's just hard work, just working, getting my body prepared to move up. A lot of people think it's a secret to it, but it's not. Being a boxer all my life and having to cut weight my whole life is difficult, but being able to just fight at your natural weight and eat properly and train how you want to train without having to hold back because you like, oh, I don't want to put on too much muscle, or I gotta watch this because I gotta make weight.
For more than 10 years, the boxing world viewed Terence "Bud" Crawford as a pure technical mastermind, a fighter who began at the bottom, climbed step by step, and methodically dismantled bigger names along the way. The story felt flawless. The smaller, sharper technician outsmarting and outboxing larger, stronger opponents. But what if that entire narrative was wrong? What if the version of Terence Crawford we watched dominate the lightweight division wasn't a technical genius overcoming size disadvantages, but a man competing at only half of his true physical capacity? The truth has finally surfaced, and it is honestly unsettling. In a candid interview that took place in December 2025, Crawford revealed a bombshell that completely reshapes how his entire career should be viewed. He wasn't simply cutting weight. He admitted that every time he stepped on the scale,
it's part of boxing. It's a part of making weight. You're gonna be dehydrated. You're gonna feel weaker than you normally is.
Terence Crawford has 3 hours into the weigh-in and 2.8 pounds to lose. As you can see, he is depleting and destroying his body to make the 135-pound limit. But this is the sacrifices of a champion. The very thing that made Terence Crawford the pound-for-pound great that he is today.
I want you to get in and then start cranking it as hot as you can tolerate.
For years, fans questioned how Crawford still carried such sharp, explosive power despite looking visibly drained and gaunt. Now we finally understand why. The Bud Crawford who dominated and terrorized the 135-pound division was running on empty, starving his body to a dangerous extreme. And the most frightening revelation of all is that he has now disclosed his true natural and comfortable weight, and it is nowhere near what anyone ever expected it to be.
The craziest thing you've ever done to make weight?
Almost died.
Wait a second. How did that happen?
I was in Texas and it was like 100 and some degrees and I still had weight to lose. I just kept working out, kept moving, not drinking no water. I just pushed my body to the limit and I actually was 2 pounds under when I got on the scale. My body had shut down. So after I made weight, I had just tried to drink some water and some Pedialyte, but my body had just crashed. I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital.
Oh wow. I live in Texas. The summer heat is no joke. You leave your body on the line for this sport. I mean, it's a testament to how much you love it.
The revelation didn't come during a press conference or a documentary. It began during a casual live stream with Aiden Ross. Typically, these streams are filled with jokes, gaming, and relaxed conversation. But the atmosphere shifted instantly when the topic of weight cutting came up. Crawford, now retired and secure in his legacy as a 5-division world champion, decided he no longer needed to protect the secrets of the sport. In that moment, he let the mask fall.
Canelo the hardest person you ever fought?
No.
Who was the hardest person you ever fought?
Gamble.
Damn.
That was at 135.
That's so fucking crazy, bro. That's crazy.
When asked about the toughest weight cuts of his career, Crawford didn't even mention welterweight. Instead, he went straight back to the beginning of his journey. He looked directly into the camera and admitted that making 135 and 140 pounds was absolute torture. He used the phrase "killing myself" to describe the process. This wasn't simple discomfort or thirst. He was draining his body of life itself. But then came the statement that stunned everyone watching. When Ross asked what his most natural and comfortable weight class truly was, Crawford didn't say 147. He didn't say 154. He said 168 pounds. Super middleweight. The same division where he dismantled Canelo Alvarez in September 2025. That means for the majority of his career, Crawford was competing 3 or even 4 weight classes below his natural size. He wasn't a lightweight at all. He was a super middleweight hiding in plain sight.
Let me ask you this. What was your hardest weight cut you've ever had to do?
135.
What?
when I was fighting at 135.
That's so crazy. And what's your most healthiest natural weight? Where you feel the best? Okay. Damn.
168.
What was the secret to doing that, bro? Like, that's a crazy cut.
Like, I was obviously I was smaller.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I used myself to make that weight. You know what I mean? And same way with 140, but I just went straight up to 147.
When Ryan fought Tank, that dehydration clause, do you think if they were to rematch without that clause, do you think it would have been a different situation?
For sure. For sure.
You think Ryan might have a better chance of beating him?
I think Tank's skills prevail overall, but I do think it would have been different, you know, if Ryan was more healthier.
Yeah.
Didn't have the injury.
Yeah.
And he came in more full like he did when he fought Devin.
Was Canelo the hardest person you ever fought?
Nah.
Who was the hardest person you ever fought?
Gamboa.
Damn.
And I was at 135.
That's so crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Let's rewind back to 2014. If you revisit the weigh-in photos from Crawford's fight against Yuriorkis Gamboa, something immediately stands out. His face looks hollow, his cheeks are sunken, his eyes appear lifeless, and his skin looks paper-thin. At the time, fans praised his discipline and called it professionalism. But viewed through today's lens, it looks far more like medical negligence. This revelation also explains one of the biggest mysteries of his early career, the chin check. Against Gamboa, a much smaller fighter, Crawford was visibly rocked. He was buzzed. For years, critics used that moment as evidence that Crawford had a weak or questionable chin. They claimed he couldn't take a punch, but that was
What do you feel differently, like being 30-something pounds? Like, what do you feel?
I just feel more healthier.
Yeah.
You know, more energized.
When you're cut, you have like you're lightheaded, you're just tired, or what?
I won't say lightheaded, but it's just like your body just, you know, just tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like your punch resistance is different. Like just everything, you know, about your body is like depleted. You know, and you're trying to get it back in 24 hours, and sometimes you can't get enough nutrients.
Yeah.
In it.
Damn, that shit's...
An amount of time that you got to fight.
That shit is tough, bro.
When you drain yourself from a natural weight of over 170 pounds down to 135, you lose the protective fluid that surrounds the brain. You step into the ring in a compromised and dangerous state. Crawford wasn't getting hurt because Gamboa was an elite power puncher. He was getting hurt because his body was already in survival mode before the opening bell even rang. He was fighting on instincts alone, like a zombie, because his physical reserves were completely depleted.
McIntyre, Terence Crawford's own trainer, has come out and stated that Terence Crawford is a weight bully. Let me break down his exact statement. He says, man, listen, let me tell you, man, he should have been at 168 pounds a long time ago. But you know, myself, just make him take advantage of 35, 40, and 47. If you can make it, let's make it. Now, this is all according to Bomac in an interview he did with the Ring magazine. Now, the weird thing about all this is he literally says out of his own mouth that Terence Crawford should have been at 168 pounds a long time ago. And if you can take advantage of 135, 140, and 147, that was the motivation. Now, that's crazy to me. And at the end of the day, I don't really see a lot of people talking about Terence Crawford as a weight bully when his own team confirms that the man is a weight bully. And you know, there's going to be some people in the comments that get upset or to get mad or accuse me of all these things. But listen again, I never said this. Terence Crawford's own team said this. Bomac, his trainer, said this. So understand that before you get in your feelings. Now, what's so interesting is if Terence Crawford should have already been at 168 and he's big enough for the weight and that's not an issue, then why did last year Team Terence Crawford offered David Benavidez a fight at 160 pounds. You knew David couldn't make 160. You knew David only fought at 168 and 175. You knew there was no way that David could get down to 160 pounds. You knew that just couldn't happen. And if you're a guy that could always and easily make the weight at 168, and you should have been there a long time ago, why even offer David a fight at 160? You should have offered him a fight at...
This admission has ignited a massive controversy across the boxing world and online communities. For years, fans criticized fighters like Canelo Alvarez or Devin Haney as so-called weight bullies, men who are naturally huge but drain themselves to dominate smaller opponents. Crawford largely avoided that label because of his slim appearance. But numbers don't lie, and the math is now impossible to ignore.